This Champions League final picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a $25 deposit bonus. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today was supposed to be Thursday, May the 29th. It's actually Friday, May the 30th, and we are here to handicap the Champions League final. Absolutely overwhelmed with enthusiasm and possibly beer. Joining us with an explanation is Mr. Barry Penaluna. All right, Baz, nice to see you there. You all right, son?
Yeah, sorry to keep everyone waiting.
You don't look sorry, I'll be honest, Barry. You're grinning like a Cheshire cat.
I couldn't give a fuck, to be honest. I've literally just walked in the house, literally about 30 seconds ago. I haven't even taken a piss yet. I went to the fridge, I got myself a bottle of water, and here I am, full of vodka, full of gin, and full of frivolity. So I've had a good night.
Well, good you can be full of frivolity for all of us, because I'd be desperate to go to bed. I'm literally sat here, Baz, with nothing to do. Like, there's no football now, there's nothing on. There was one day baseball game I watched a little bit. I've watched all kinds of shit on the telly for 7 hours waiting for you. Where have you been? Tell us all about it then.
I've been gigging again, and it's the usual story. I've been to the Rescue Rooms, a music venue in Nottingham. Went to watch Andrew Cushion, a little local Newcastle chanter. There was a Stockport band on called the Rolling People. They were good. And another band called the Publics. So 3 good bands tonight, £20 spent, plus all the vodka and gin. Caught up with Kieran. Kieran says hello. He'll know Kieran from last year's trip. And Andrew Bevan, as you know, as well. So caught up with a couple of friends. Took Chloe along, the eldest daughter. So yeah, the 4 of us have had a good night.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted, Barry. I can't smile wide enough.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just really pleased you had a good time. Let's say hello to the list of people you've kept waiting. Harry was first in. Harry, nice you to join us. Bob D, I think Bob D's been and gone, but he was here. All right, Bob. Andy Williams is on his way to Berwick with an ambulance full of donuts, I think, is what's going on there. The Backish family, Courtney and Patrick, are here. And I think that's everyone. Cree was kicking about, and John Culliffe has made it just in time for the first ad read. Oh, Smudge has joined us as well. Lee Smith, how you doing? Yeah, I mean, we've only got one game to handicap, which is the Champions League final, so we shouldn't be very long. Coming off a show on Monday night in which I correctly 100% of my picks won, Barry. I did say 48 minutes to make one Chelsea moneyline pick. But, you know, sometimes it's all you need, isn't it? In and out, Baz, like a cat burglar, no pissing around. I think, congratulations, Harry, anyway. You can join the list of the most successful English teams since May the 16th, 2025, along with Crystal Palace and Liverpool. So, and Tottenham now. Chelsea have now joined Newcastle in that elite top 5, the big 5 of trophy winners. Yeah, so I think you hit Betis.
First goal.
Baz. Yeah. Do you know what you hit? Have you got any idea where you are?
Yeah, the 74 for the first goal, Betis' first goal. And actually, Betis got off to a flyer, didn't they? It was literally chance after chance for Betis in the first half. Got the first goal, cashed the 74, and then second half turned up and Chelsea were all over them. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite entertaining. until the point Chelsea went 3-1 up, and then I turned it off because I'm not asked about. I think I've told you before, I don't think I've ever watched another English team lift a trophy in my life because I'll always turn it off before full time. So Liverpool lifting the trophy, that doesn't interest me. I'm not bothered about that. I'm not watching that. Even Palace doesn't bother me. I enjoyed watching the game. I enjoyed watching Palace win. But as soon as 90 minutes comes round, I'll turn it off because that's not for me. It shouldn't be for anyone, should it? But
no, I turned it off at 3-1 as well.
So yeah, 3-1.
Once
That was it.
the game was done as a contest and the bets were done, I turned it off. I turned it off immediately. I think I watched Tottenham's trophy lift because I had a Spurs fan here. I didn't have Matty Glover was here, but I didn't watch Palace either. I think maybe West Ham a couple of years ago we did talk about that, but then I don't know if I watched it or just saw social media shit. That's the other thing, you're going to see it within an hour all over social media as well. But completely agree. Lee is in Tenerife, the flash bastard. So nice of you to join us from there. Just a couple of other things. News and notes, Barry. Very enjoyed the work of the Malaysian All-Stars this week. That made me laugh.
Did you see the open top bus parade?
The open top bus parade was a belter. And I mean, we were quite complimentary about Man United on Monday, but I think we're back to normal now. The embargo's been lifted, and the Malaysian All-Stars duffed them up on Tuesday afternoon. That made me laugh a lot. And then Liam Delap, I think while we're talking about Chelsea, the first, I would say, almost confirmed move of the summer, 30 million clause being triggered. Liam Delap going to Chelsea. Don't know how a centre-forward who scored bugger all goals and got relegated gets to pick and choose which team he wants to go to, but apparently that's how it works. So a name that Newcastle might have been in for, Baz. Any strong thoughts on that?
I think I'd have been happy if Newcastle had got him for 30 million. But I'm surprised that he wants to go to Chelsea and fight out a place with Nicholas Jackson rather than coming to Newcastle and trying to fucking usurp Alexander Isak. Doesn't, he's going to play every week for Chelsea, isn't he? I would imagine. But 30 million release clause is why Chelsea are in for him, because it's a no-brainer at that price. And I'm not surprised he wanted to go there where he knows he'll probably start.
There was at one point midway through the second half where Nicholas Jackson controlled it further than I can kick it. Ridiculous. Holy shit. I've never seen anyone control the ball that far. If you challenged him to control it 28 yards, I don't think he could have managed it.
It was funny. I was watching that moment when he got the ball and he's coming through and he's got someone alongside him as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
2-on-1. Like, and my immediate thought was, it's Nicholas Jackson. He'll fuck this up. And fucking sure enough, he did. And he actually fucked it up worse than I thought he could have fucked it up. I thought he just put it straight at the keeper, but he didn't even give himself a shot on goal from it, which is absolutely shocking. I even made Helen watch it. I was like, Helen, watch this. Look how fucking bad this is. She couldn't give a fuck, but I made her watch it.
And I'll shout out, I can't remember if it was Callum or Michael. It was one of them two. It was really strong on the Enzo Fernandez shot on target.
I can't remember who. Probably Mike, I think.
It was round about 13-8 because I did bet it. That was the only thing. I bet the Super Boost, obviously, which cashed in 4 minutes, which is always helpful because then I could reinvest on Enzo Fernandez. But me and Bob were watching it, and I was wanting Enzo Fernandez to hang around the edge of the box to pick up a scrap and then hit one at the keeper. But when he kept getting in the 6-yard box, and I said, Bob, he's never going to get on the end of one of them crosses from 8 yards and nod one in. He's in the wrong position. And then barely the sentence had got out of my mouth and he nodded one in from 8 yards out. So that was all right. Whoever that was, Callum or Michael, I can't remember, but well done. Yes,
it was a tremendous ball from Cole Palmer. And Cole Palmer had a tremendous second half. But fuck me, he's a tit, isn't he? Does he not get on your tits? When he speaks?
He's just a bit of a divvy, which is fine because I'm a bit of a divvy, so I can see that.
I kind of stand it. Bootle's in the chat. He's shouting out Harry for his Finnish football tips. Did you? Can you remember last week when we done?
I think we briefly mentioned it on Monday, Baz.
We done the afternoon tip, didn't we? And we done the afternoon show, and Harry shouted out a Finnish game that was about to start on the afternoon. He went for the over 3.5, I think. Might have been over 4.5, actually.
I think it was over 4.5.
Yeah, finished 0-0. But yeah, classic.
Yeah, very good. Well done, Harry. But he's all the way back now. He's got a full trophy cabinet of European trophies. As Harry
We never
doesn't
did
care
find
about
out if
the finished
Bootle had managed to find his way back into his house, having left for the Tottenham parade.
Oh yes, you
Whilst
thought he
not
was
taking
locked.
his plea.
Did you think he was locked out, and I thought he was locked in?
Yeah, we've not had confirmation.
You see, I think that says something about our respective personalities. Barry, a psychologist would have a field day with you assuming someone was locked out and me assuming someone was locked in on how we see the world. Right, Champions League. We've made a few different picks. I've made more than one pick, even though 100% record on the Chelsea game. So we've got some outrights. We've got some props, player props, and a little bet builder as well. I've no idea what Barry's done, if indeed he's done anything this week, because he's not really been getting involved the last few weeks. He's sat out quite a lot.
Fuck off.
The GP guys are, I'm going to be saying this sentence again, ripping packs live on air next Monday night, breaking a case of Panini Prisms with DAPS, and you can get a 10% off your favourite team with the promo code SGPN. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/break to get in on the action. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors. All gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums, cashback rewards. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN. Deposit $25. EdgeBoost will match that deposit. edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And Underdog going long for the NBA playoffs with their extender bonus. Hop in game one, and the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. Use our code PLGP to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. Righty-ho. Champions League final. Saturday, May the 31st, 8 p.m. local time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. This game is for the right to play Tottenham Hotspur in the European Super Cup early next season. That is the big prize on offer. There's also the small matter of the trophy and the title of Champions of Europe, as well as a secondary titillation for the teams. Inside 90 minutes, PSG are 6-5 favourites, plus 120. The draw, 23-10, plus 230. Inter Milan are 12-5, plus 240. To lift the trophy, so extra time and penalties, PSG 4-6, minus 150. And Inter Milan are 13-10, plus 130. So I've done the levy lifting. The heavy lifting is what I've done, Baz. You do think I've been full of vodka injured? The stats, recent, go with the 10-year trends first, Baz. 10-year trends on Champions League finals. Don't you worry, son. You can go and have that piss if you want. I'm all over this. Last 10 finals, we're going 8-2 to the favourites. 7 of those, 8, got the job done inside 90 minutes. Average 2.3 goals per game. 7 out of 10 went under 2.5. 4 out of 10, both teams to score. And only 1 out of those 10 went to penalties. So looking at those trends, Bars, favouring the favourites. And low scoring. Say lots of unders. Not many both teams to score. Was that so it wasn't really an instinct with PSG on the slate here, was it? Because everything we've seen about them is goals for and goals against. So how do you think about that?
Well, I think, as you say, PSG screams goals, but also the later form of Inter Milan feels good. And it's not just the Barcelona game where we saw 11 goals, but in the Bayern game, it was the same. And to be fair, Inter's form in the latter part of the season across all competitions, there was a lot more goals. As we know, in the group stage, they gave nothing away at all. But I think I just can't see a way PSG on getting involved here. So yeah, my lean's definitely towards goals. Definitely to buck the trend, I think.
Yeah. Domestically, it's hard to look at PSG. They only lost twice in 34 games, won the league by 19 points. But really quite happy not to look into their domestic form. And luckily we didn't have to, because they have played 6 games against Premier League opposition in the last 3 rounds of this competition. Bit of an emotional low spot, I thought, potentially for Inter Milan, because they missed out on the league title domestically by 1 point on Friday night to Napoli. I did want to look at their domestic form, because I think that's of more relevance. There's more teams in that league that will have the quality of PSG. And it was more low scoring, 2.08 goals per game, conceding 0.92. I'll throw the Champions League stats here then. PSG in the Champions League, 110 drawn 1, lost 5, scoring 2.06, conceding 0.94. Inter Milan have won 10, drawn 3 with only 1 defeat, 1.86 goals per game scored, 0.79 against. Baz, much in those stats for you in terms of wins, losses, goals against, any of that?
No, I think you're right in terms of Inter's domestic form means a bit more, particularly more recent form, because PSG had that league wrapped up ages ago. So they did start dropping loads of points, but you look at the team they were putting out every week and they just didn't care. Whereas Inter were in it, they were playing for everything. So every game Inter have played recently has meant something. They were still in the league title, they were still in for the cup. And they just had that, particularly that little rough spell. They lost 3 in a row in between the Barcelona and Bayern games, where they got knocked out the cup, and they sort of set themselves back in the league. So I think that they've picked up. They did pick up since they finished quite strongly, but that sort of sticks out for me. The PSG, as you say, looking at the domestic form, doesn't mean a lot. They had that league wrapped up so early, like.
The subhuman Gaucho has joined us. Gaucho, welcome along. We have said in recent weeks, teams that have just decided not to bother trying because they've qualified for something, and it didn't make any sense to us. But they're the teams that have won everything. Sunderland, who just had 3 months off. Fuck this, lads. And then Tottenham, who also had 3 months off. They both won, which was in direct contravention of what we thought to be right and proper. But anyway, the PSG Champions League was it really was a tale of 2 halves. They only won 1 of the first 5 games, and then won 9 of the next 11. And we've got that really good form line, like a direct form line, because they've got 6 straight games against Premier League opposition, Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Arsenal in that order. Or was it the other? Yeah, it was that way. Not many trends in those. 3 of those games went over 2.5. 3 of them went under. Both teams to score, yes in 3, no in 3. So you couldn't really pick much out of them. There was a similar split with Inter Milan, but it was a goal split, because we loved in those early rounds before Christmas, we were just taking them to win to 0 or under 2.5 every single week, and it was a cash cow. 8 out of 9 clean sheets earlier on. There was 5 1-0 wins and a 0-0 draw. And then it completely flipped after Christmas. Both teams to score in over 2.5, 5 in a row. Not a kick in the arse off, 5 goals per game in those. The Bayern Munich game, the Barcelona games that we just talked about. So, I mean, much in there, Baz, in terms of the how do you read that Premier League form line for PSG?
I mean, the main takeaway, it was one of the first points I come into. It was I was immediately drawn to PSG, but then I thought to myself, I think that's mostly because I've watched more of them because of those English games. So the fact they played Liverpool and then Villa and then Arsenal means I've watched them 6 times in the last 3 rounds, because that was the game of interest every time. So it did draw me in, and to be fair, they've been impressive, particularly in the Liverpool and Arsenal games. The fact they've conceded quite a few goals to Aston Villa is sort of maybe takes you off a little bit. But at the same time, even those goals they conceded to Villa was at the point where they almost had it wrapped up. Could have thrown it away. But against Liverpool in particular, I mean, that was the point where I sort of sat up and thought, ooh, these have got a real chance here. And again, against Arsenal, they just kept Arsenal at arm's length throughout, never looked in danger of dropping that tie. So that does drag me towards them, purely because I've watched them a lot more. Whereas Inter sort of only caught the eye more against Barcelona, because we saw those exciting ties there.
Okay. Well, do you want to give us your main pick then, Baz? Your outright, and then we'll move into the player props, etc. after that.
Yeah, so I mean, you come into it, and I thought picking a winner was tricky initially, just because of what we've seen in the last few rounds. As I say, I've seen more of PSG, so I was immediately drawn to them. But you can't ignore the Inter form in the competition. The recent form stands out, seeing off Bayern and Barcelona over 2 legs in the last 2 rounds. But they were really, really good in the group stage as well. You've mentioned they lost just once. They conceded only once in 8 games in the group. They beat Arsenal along the way, finished 4th in the table. So their pedigree throughout this full tournament has been really, really solid. But I couldn't get away from PSG here. I think, for me, I think they can get it in there. I think on an attacking front, they've got enough to get it in there. And I don't see them being as vulnerable to the counter-attack as Barcelona were, because I thought PSG, particularly against Liverpool, stood out as a really, really solid defensive unit. When Liverpool did counter-attack, PSG just mopped up everything. So I'm leaning towards PSG. My pick on the money line, my main pick is going to be PSG to win inside 90 minutes.
Well, not much out there for anyone, Baz, because my pick is Inter Milan in 90 minutes. So back the draw would be my advice. I just prefer Inter's form line and experience to PSG's. PSG's wobble in the second half against Villa lives with me like the eye test, because for 20 minutes they were absolutely wobbling against that. They didn't have to be great to beat Arsenal. And Arsenal were on top in that first 20 minutes in Paris. In the second leg. That form of Inter Milan v Barcelona is the best form on offer, even though they didn't beat them in 90 minutes twice. Do you know what I mean? Both games finished 3-3. They got the win in extra time. And the form before that, the quarter-final form against Bayern, I think is pretty solid too. I've explained sort of my theory before a couple of weeks ago that Inter Milan don't need to be the better team here. They don't need the ball. They just need to have a good 15 minutes. Inter's game script involves them having a good 15 minutes at some point, and that'll turn the game, because they're then capable of managing the game. They've got the experience. And I think that's what they can do here. 12-5 plus 240 for Inter Milan on the money line is my pick. We'll move on and try and pick some fancy stuff. Oh, it's a great big spider climbing up the wall there, Baz. I'm a bit better than I used to be. A few years ago, I'd have shit me pants and run a mile. But I think I've got so lazy now. I'm so lazy, I'm not even frightened of stuff. There's a bloke coming here with a gun now, I'd just be like, I can't be asked to run off, mate. Shoot us in the head. I'm just not bothered. It's the same with that spider. It's got legs like you, Baz, going up that well. Rhythm. New advert. I nearly read the old one. Our job at SGPN is to help you find the best picks. And now we've got a new tool that takes things to a whole new level. You've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they've just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. For example, a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean, data-backed bets. Get your 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. The Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football giveaway. Great prize. This is your entire 12-person league. Can draft in Vegas at the Circa Casino and Resort. 2 nights stay for everybody. Limo transport, loads of parties, loads of booze, and loads of food tabs as well. Contest runs May 5 to June the 30th. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. And finally, mybookie.ag. your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs. For the true degens, the MyBookie money bag is there. Easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head to mybookie.ag with the promo code PLGP for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. T's and C's apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code PLGP. Okay, we've got a bit more exotic stuff going on here. First thing I looked at, Baz, first thing that caught my eye when I was trawling through the stats was early goals. There's a big old trend for early goals. Yeah, both teams get on the board early. PSG did it in Arsenal. Inter did it twice against Barca, I believe. They've played 16 and 14 games, respectively, in this competition. 5 times both teams have scored in the first 15 minutes. Good record now. So I like the angle for an early goal. Only issue I've got is I can't find the bet. Bet365 have got the first 10 minutes market. And a goal there, 7-2. So whether or not you can bet it live and play, whether or not you put the first 10 minutes, because then someone will definitely score in the 11th minute and cost you, or a book that you use might have those odds up there. Or factoring, it might just be if you want to put a first half goal in your bet builder, that's an angle. All I'm telling you is early goals are definitely a thing. I couldn't find anything in the corners, Baz, at all, for and against. PSG 9.7, for and against, into 9.5, right where the lines are. So I couldn't do that. The assists market's quite interesting because the leading assister, is that a word? The leading assist getter in the competition is Achraf Hakimi, fullback, right back for PSG. So not someone you'd necessarily think would be up there. And Henrik Mkhitaryan for Inter Milan. Hakimi's got 5 in the competition. Mkhitaryan's got 4. Again, didn't fancy them much as a bet. My 2 bets that I liked, player props. The first one is shots on target, and it's Ousmane Dembele leading the competition in shots on target per game. Dembele 1.87 shots on target per 90 minutes. The line of over 1.5 shots for Dembele is 5-6, minus 120. And over 2.5 shots is 11-4, plus 275. So that's a nice bet. And my other play is fouls. And I wanted to factor Denzel Dumfries in. He's just always involved in the game. I was actually looking at goals and assists because every time they did something against Barcelona, Dumfries was involved. It's now come to my attention that Dumfries is averaging over 3 fouls per game. So he does get involved. He just likes kicking people as well. Over 2.5 fouls for Dumfries is 6-5 plus 120. Over 3.5 fouls for Denzel Dumfries is 3-1, Baz. You got anything like that?
Well, I've got a less exotic one first that I'll throw out now before I move on to the old player props. But I like the goals in it. We mentioned it earlier on. I've mentioned my main pick would be PSG, but I do like the goals as well. I mean, the Inter form in terms of goals has flipped on its head. 7 of their 8 group games went under 2.5. 7 of the 8 group games went both teams to score no. But then the last 5 games have went over 2.5 and both teams to score. We saw 11 goals in the last round against Barcelona. And having seen how good PSG have been in attack, I think goals would be where I would go. I know you've mentioned, I think 4 of the last 10 finished overs. So it leans towards the unders generally in a final. But I do like the over 2.5 goals at evens, and I like the over 3.5 at 5-2 as well. But moving on to player props, I just picked out a scorer. I've got a bet builder as well, but scorer for me, I've got 2, and I am still leaning towards PSG. So my pick for a scorer would be Dembele. You've mentioned him there, and how many shots he'll get. 8-5 anytime for Dembele, but at a bigger price, I like Nuno Mendes at 9-1 anytime goal scorer, and 33-1 for first goal. He scored a few in this competition, including scoring in both legs against Villa. So yeah, at a fancy price for a goal scorer. Nuno Mendes, 9-1, 33-1 anytime, 33-1 first goal scorer.
Yeah, it's a big price. He gets forward. We talked about Hakimi on the one side. It's how PSG play. Bob would call him Nuno Menj, but that's how you have to say it.
Yeah, I've heard
if you're not.
I've heard Mika Richards on the old podcast talking about him like that as well. But I'll say Mendes. Well,
right, okay. I've got a couple of bet builders here, Baz, mainly involving the picks I've just given out there, just sort of sticking them all together. I want to put. I'm going to up one by a leg, but I'll do that when you're talking in a minute. First thing I'm going to point out with bet builders is Bet365, or this is an unpaid promotion, by the way. 50% boost on all your bet builders on Bet365 for the Champions League final. So you're having a little go. Suddenly, my 10-to-1 shot is 15-to-1, etc. So my first bet builder here, it's like a little mini ladder. The first one I'm going to go with is Inter in 90 minutes. Dembele over 1.5 shots on target, and Dumfries over 1.5 fouls. That pays 10-to-1. And then if we put the two player props one rung up the ladder, Inter Milan in 90 minutes, Dembele over 2.5 shots on target, and Dumfries over 2.5 fouls. That pays 33-to-1. I think the first half goals around about 2-5. So that'll probably knock that up to 16-to-1 and 50-to-1. I can't be asked to work it out. It's 20-to-1 in the fucking morning. But round about 16-to-1 or 50-to-1 for those two bet builders. Baz, you can laugh, but get on with it.
What are we still doing here at 20-to-1 in the morning?
Okay, ridiculous.
Can I just say, I look kind of fresh tonight, don't I? Like, I reckon I should drink vodka more often. I look quite smooth and shiny in that. I reckon the YouTubers will appreciate that tonight. I'm looking good. I had a shave, just to drag it out a little bit later and keep you a bit longer. Talk about
good. Go on, keep going.
Anyway, I've got a bet builder for you. It's all about the shots. So here we go. Kvaratskhelia, 3 shots on goal. Or 3 shots. Let's just say shots, because I know that confuses people when I say shots on goal. So yeah, Kvaratskhelia, 3 shots. Doué for PSG, 2 shots on target. Thuram for Inter, 1 shot on target. And finishing off with Hakan Çalhanoğlu, 2 shots. So that's Kvaratskhelia, 3 shots, Çalhanoğlu, 2 shots, Doué, 2 on target, and Thuram, 1 on target. 20-to-1. Now, for those in the UK or anyone who can use Bet365, 50% boost, I think, on the old bet builder. So 20-to-1 becomes 30-to-1. So have a look out, see if you've got that 50% price boost. But yeah, that's
now, I can't tell if you're taking the piss because I said it before, or you just genuinely never listen to a word I said.
I don't listen to a word you say.
Right, I think you're taking the piss. Right, okay then. Well, that was all tremendous fun, Barry. Well worth me sitting here for 7 hours for. I'm sure the people will agree. That was award-winning. Do you have anything?
As long as you know, I've had a lovely night.
Yes, Barry, I'm sure you have. I've had a lovely night. It's just this wasn't it. Do you want to tell the people anything before we let them go?
No. I was going to ask whether you think English teams should be in the Conference League. There was a debate today on social media saying...
Well, so where do you draw the line? Or you just kick people out as that right?
Is the third tier of European football a place for Premier League football teams? You know, it's like us going in the FA Trophy or something like that, you know, and depriving Charlton of a Papa John's Trophy win. I think it's a valid point. If we're getting 5 Champions League places, do we need a Conference League place as well, just so Chelsea can mince about and pretend they've
if that's the case, they just need to change that entire competition, and it'll be all teams with a national coefficient of under 1 or whatever the fuck it is. The only problem with that is whoever then ends up top, they're still top. So if it's Romania, will we then say, well, should the Romanian teams be in this? Because they're just battering the teams from Luxembourg. So if you boot Romania out, then say, well, you know, so these Latvian fuckers have won it 6 years in a row, and you just kick them all out until there's Gibraltar left, and that's it. And that's the Gibraltar FA Cup, Barry. and that's where we're going to end up. That's my opinion. Lincoln
there you
Red
go.
Imps, by the way, are nailed on for the Gibraltar FA Cup next year.
Anyway.
That's like that kid from Darlington, can't remember, he's a postman from Darlington, playing up front for Lincoln Red Imps. So there you go. Didn't expect that tip, did you, tonight? 1:45 in the morning. Right,
There
Barry, can I please go to bed?
You can try, yeah.
Right. What's the button pressing situation here? Are you doing it?
Yeah, I'm gonna press a button.
I'm not
any
pressing
idea when
nothing,
we're
right?
back?
Sorry?
Are you any idea when we're back? What's next?
Next will be the celebrations of all these winners.
£1 million recap.
Full breakdown of the Gibraltar FA Cup and probably the £1 million show, Barry. The £1 million show review is what we'll do.
Sounds good. I'll see you on
Right,
the road.
okay. I'll say bye. You get ready to press the button, right? I'll do this. So you're fully aware that I don't intend to press nothing.
Just get on
Thank
with
you,
it,
everyone,
anyways.
for staying up, joining us, not staying up, listening to the podcast, joining in the chat, which did make me giggle. And we will see you all down the road. Cheers.